Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Good evening. Hello, brothers. Give us just 1 minute, let a few more people filter in. Good evening, James. Just a shout out in chat if you can hear me okay. Nathan, good evening. Robert, how are you doing? Highland Phoenix is here as always. Highland Phoenix was trolling me again last night. I'm really tempted to run a Gladiator Reaper this week just for you, Highland Phoenix. Can you submit more than one list? Of course you can. I just might not do more than one list on a stream, so you might have to get reviewed across multiple streams. We usually just limit it to one person at a time. But yeah, I don't know how a Gladiator Reaper synergizes at all with my list. I think it probably doesn't, but I'll run it. And there's a Discord. Yes, 100% there's a Discord. The link to Discord should be in the video description. Should be in pretty much every video description that I have. Yeah, so tonight's lists. We've got 5 to check out. If you have any problems with Discord, you can let me know, but I mean, it should be there in every video description. It is Brew and Biscuits, Chrono Saying, Eric Ragland, Inks, and Lamented Sun. Alright, cool. Lamented Sun, you are here. Cool, we'll get into your list shortly. Greetings, everybody. Lucas, I hope you guys are all well. It's been a fine Sunday for me, actually. I hope you're having a good weekend. A little bit tired, but I stayed up too late last night. After I finished painting, I jumped on the computer to play like a round of Modern Warfare, that new Call of Duty game, and I think I played for like an hour, and then I didn't get up. I still had to get up early because I was doing stuff with the kids, so it's my own fault. Cool. Okay, let's get into it. Garland ran a Lancer and it was a total liability. Sounds like how I feel that the Reaper might do. Have I got Darktide? I haven't got Darktide. I thought it came out in like 2 weeks' time. At the end of the month. I was thinking I was going to get it. I'm pretty sure it comes out at the end of the month. Oh, it's out already? You guys are playing it? Cool. Well, I'm going to get it at the end of the month. I need to get paid. Okay. We're going to start with Brew and Biscuits list tonight. Oh, it's beta right now? Okay, cool. Is it good? Is it worth getting? I mean, I'm probably going to get it anyway. I plan to do a little bit more gaming and a little bit less work over the Christmas holidays. I mean, I don't know if that'll actually happen, but that's what I'm wanting to happen. All right, so Brew is back with a new list. He's changing his list more often than he changes underwear at this point. Which I probably don't advise. You need to stick with a solid list for a while, or the core of a list. And he's going to GT in January. He's been feeling the pain of -4 weapons, so he's decided to go back to Storm Shields in the hope that the 4++ will give some guys more life. I mean, it certainly will. After a bit of a discussion last night, I am considering running 10 Vanguard Veterans with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields again. I sort of dropped them because I thought they're crappy into Armor of Contempt. But, I mean, Armor of Contempt models aren't usually the thing I'm having problems with. It's survivability, right? So, he's taking a Librarian with a Jump Pack and Wings to combo with Rites of War, giving him like a giant threat range to take away objectives. I've seen this done before in a tournament list. It can be pretty decent. He's also taken a Sanguinary Priest to babysit Blade Guardians in the middle, or Van Vets, depending on the mission. And after watching your Armigers, I've manifested some Helverins to try out for range support. Alright, I can't really advise on the Helverins. Again, Helverins are not great into Armor of Contempt, but I guess maybe you're in the same boat as me. You're not fighting Armor of Contempt models, so you don't overly care about that. Good evening, Ginger, Benzo, Rezio. Good evening, guys. How you doing? Alright, we're just on the first list. So this first list is, I guess, 5 CP detachment of Blood Angels. We've got Dante as the Warlord. We've got the Librarian with Unleash Rage and Wings and Rites of War. The more I play Librarians, the more I feel like Psychic Mastery is so important, but I guess it's fine to not have it. And then he's got the Chief Apothecary Selfless Healer, which we don't see too much Chief Apothecary, but I mean, I guess it can be useful. It can bring back a model or something. We've got 3 squads of Incursors and 105 points. Incursors are generally pretty decent. Let's hope they drop them by 10 points a squad. I think you could also maybe consider a mine here. Like, I think a mine on a squad. If you're going to put a squad of Incursors in like a reasonably dangerous area, having a mine on them for 10 points is not a bad idea. 5 Blade Guard veterans. I've tried to run 5 Blade Guard veterans myself a bunch of times. It never seems to work out. They always seem to get mopped up, even if you use transhuman on them. It just seems to be what happens, right? We've got a Death Company with 4 hammers, which is the solid Death Company. A lot of people are running that. We've got 3 Vanguard veteran squads. 4 with Lightning Claws. 4 with Storm Shields. The Sergeant with a Lightning Claw and a Thunderhammer. It's really cool how Vanguard veterans get these loadouts. Like, Death Company should be allowed to take a Lightning Claw and a Thunderhammer. How cool would that be? Just gives them a bit more versatility, I guess. That's all the melee he's got, though, right? So no Sandguard and only 1 Death Company. He's got the Whirlwind there, and then he's got a couple of Helverins. He's taken the martial tradition Hunter of Beasts. People recommended to me to take Hunter of Beasts. I guess it's the best one for shooting, but I don't play enough knights to know what that is off the top of my head. 1 second. Hunter of Beasts is... Each time the model makes them with this tradition, if it makes a attack against monsters or vehicles, add 1 to the hit roll. Alright, so against monsters or vehicles, you hit on 2s. Each time this model makes an attack against Titanic, add 1 to the damage. That's pretty cool. And yeah, so that's it. So you basically add 1, so you hit on 2s if you target monsters or vehicles. I mean, I guess that's cool. It's basically an autocannon you have, right? On a Helverin. Or 2 autocannons. So averaging like 4 shots per cannon. And yeah, a stubber, I guess. Good range on the Helverins though, right? Like, really good range. And they do count as 5 and they are obsec, so that's cool as well if you ever need that later in the game. Calvin Phoenix says he would take Psychic Mastery over Selfless Healer. I kind of agree with you. The problem is that then you can't put Rites of War on that character, right? Oh no, you can. No, you can't if he's your warlord, right? Because you can't have a non-warlord having to... Yeah, I mean, if it was me and this was what I was going to run, I'd probably put Psychic Master on the Librarian, and I'd probably put Rites of War on the Selfless Healer and save the points. I generally dislike not having any Sanguinary Guard in a list. I think they're important. But I guess going Storm Shields maybe is a different sort of build. I also think that, like, having played something like this at a tournament recently, I don't think this is a great setup for scoring secondaries. Yes, you'll score primaries reasonably decent, but you don't have a whole heap of like go-to secondaries, right? Like, maybe you can Relentless Assault, but remember, here's the other problem, I guess, with the Knight detachment. If you're doing stuff like Shock Tactics, the Knights don't count for Shock Tactics. They don't count for Relentless Assault. Oh, my daughter's up. 1 second, I'll be right back. So yeah, my thought is Vanguard veterans with storm shields. Like I can maybe go out and board like taking 10 of them and combat squadding them, but yeah, Blade Guard. Like I think you're just always better taking Sanguinary Guard than Blade Guard at the moment, unless there's a way of I mean, when you put Blade Guard in a transport, the transport's just way too expensive. I think, based on my experience recently running, I would say like a list not a million miles from this. I ran Dante, Mephiston, the Priest. I ran Assault Intercessors, and Cursors. I ran Sanguinary Guard, Death Company, and then I ran the Whirlwind, and then 3 Armigers rather than 2. It's fine. I think it would be okay to run this. I think it probably could go 3 and 2 in a tournament. I think maybe with a bit of luck it could go 4 and 1, but I don't think you'd be winning any events. It's too hard to score over 90 points with a list like this. Like it's just too hard. Like you'll come up against like sisters who are just gonna hold their objectives on their side of the board and score 100 points, and you'll lose to that. Same with Necrons. You're gonna come up against a Necron list where you're just gonna lose. Oh, hi, user. Hold on. So based on that, this is fine, but I think you have to lean more heavily into I think you probably. I mean, if you just want to have fun and you want to go 3 and 2 or 4 and 1 at a tournament, or if you're just playing in a meta that this is good, then this is fine. But yeah, I mean, I think if we do talk about like the lists that I really had problems with, like Sisters of Battle, like I don't see this beating Sisters of Battle. I mean, Vanguard Veterans Lightning. I guess a bunch of 4-up saves helps against Sisters. Maybe Blade Guard with Transhuman also help. But yeah, I think there's a reason people don't play Blade Guard at the moment, right? 5-man Vanguard Veterans and 3 units worth here just seems a bit out of place, like overwhelmed even with shields. I guess the reason to do a list like this is because you've got 20 models that have 4-up saves. However, you lose a lot of the killing power of the Sanguinary Guard. You lose some of the mobility. Yeah, I mean, I think if I want 3 wound models with invulnerable saves, I'm going to take Thunderhammer Terminators, or I'm going to take. I think you can do like 3 with Thunderhammers, 2 with Lightning Claws, for like 20 points more than Blade Guard. And if you want to hold the middle, then just drop them down in the middle in turn 2, as opposed to having to walk across the battlefield to try and get to the middle and getting killed. That's kind of how I think would be better, and also I think you struggled with this sort of list. I think like you can have games where you score 90, but you're never going to have games where you score 100. So if you hey Clint, good evening. If you're fine scoring 90 in every game, then great, go for it. You may also struggle against armies that do a lot of mortal wound spam here because, like, I hate feeling like I have to include Soul Warden and Unleash Rage. No, sorry, Soul Warden and Rites of War in every build, but like where the meta currently stands, if you don't take those things, it can be very, very difficult, like super difficult. So yeah, I guess that's just something to consider. Okay, we'll move on to Chronosane's list next. Joe says hello, good evening, Joe. Highland Phoenix says, what about 10 Vanguard Veterans, 8 with Lightning Claw and Storm Shields, 2 with Infernal Pistols and Thunderhammers? Do you know what? I probably do prefer an Infernal Pistol Thunderhammer on the Sergeant. And then you could get a squad of Sanguinary Guard in. I'd probably even go for a second squad of Death Company there. Or maybe you're right, maybe a squad of Sandguard. 5 Sandguard are about the same cost as the 5 Vanguard Veterans. When you say it like that, it's pretty mad, actually, that 5 Vanguard are the same cost as Vanguard veterans. Gareth Star says he includes Blade Guard in his list alongside a bunch of Power Fists, Angry Guard, Death Company unit of Vanguard vets. So I'm running Mephiston. I think the act is a decent bodyguard for him. I've been running Mephiston for like 6 months, and I think maybe even longer. I think I'm going to drop him in my next list. I think I'm going to run something completely different against Votan on Wednesday night and see what happens. But yeah, it's funny. I'm gonna drop Mephiston, but there was a couple of times where denying powers actually really helped me in this GT. So, do I still like Psychers? Yes. Tycho the Lost. You laugh about Tycho the Lost, but I do have a list that includes. I made 2 lists. My next 2 army lists, and one of them is definitely a Tycho the Lost list. I might have to go AFK again in a second. My daughter's like rolling around. She's not settled tonight. Yeah, but I think my first list is the more serious list. Okay, Brew and Biscuit says, cheers to the feedback and checking out the list. Yeah, you're welcome, Brew. Watch the video I just made. I put up a video about how I included armigers this week, and I've got the second part of that video coming out like this Friday. They're not bad, but I felt like I was playing with one hand tied behind my back, right? Like, I just never had good secondary choices. I never was going to... Even in the game where I completely dominated Thousand Suns, I only got, like, 92 points. Like, I just couldn't score 100. And I think if you want to score 100, you have to lean into things like Fury of the Lost. Which is fine, I guess. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do it. But, like, I think it makes things difficult if you don't do it. Mephiston does seem underwhelming a lot. Yes, Mephiston for me seems cursed. Like I roll like I always roll more ones on. He always hits on 2s and wounds on 2s, and I always seem to get like splatters of 1s when I use Mephiston. It makes no sense to me, but that's just the way he does. Sneaking a cheap Inquisitor. I do like having a cheap Inquisitor as well, Highland, because if you do come up against a list where you can psychically interrogate, that's CP back, and it's CP back, and yeah, I mean it's 15 points if you can just interrogate every turn as well. Alright, Chrono's saying he's up next. He's trying out the Assault Intercessor squad, 4-man for point restrictions. Mephisto and the Chapter Master will hang with Sanguinary Guard squad each, and the Priest will trek out the board with Centurions and peel off if necessary to heal or resurrect Sanguinary Guard. Whirlwind is to the Whirlwind things, and the Vindicator later Destroyer, the Thunderstrike, and Eliminators, all with last fusel or fire support. Okay, so we've got a decent bit of fire support in this list. And I guess we've got a Patrol Vanguard detachment. Alright, so probably less troops and more elites. Let's have a look. We start with the Chapter Master, who has Soul Warden. I like that a lot. He's got an Infernal Pistol. He's got Rites of War. Has he got Thunderhammer? No. Infernal Pistol. Rites of War. So what weapon does he have? A chainsword? Oh, Relic Blade. Sorry, I don't know why I was reading that. Alright, so he's got a Relic Blade. Okay, so that's decent, I guess. And see, this is why I probably don't like Dante, because I just think, like, yes, Dante can fight on death. Yes, Dante can do a stratagem for free. What's going to give me more value? Rites of War and Soul Warden? Or, like, once in every 2 or 3 games, Dante getting to fight on death? Because remember, if Dante gets shot, or if he gets smited, or anything like that, he doesn't get to fight on death. And that stratagem needs reworded, right? Like, so they smite Dante while they're in engagement range with him, but he's not allowed to fight because it's not the fight phase. or they charge Dante, and that was what happened with the Votan. The Votan do mortal wounds on him when they charge him. So again, they kill Dante, but he's not allowed to fight because it's not the fight phase. It's kind of stupid, right? So I like the Chapter Master with Soul Ward and Rites of War. If this done Quickening, Unleash Rage, Wings is kind of standard. I feel like Unleash Rage and Wings are the two powers you need. The third power, pick whatever the hell you want, because none of the other powers are any good. I guess Quickening gets you to reroll charge. Incursors, nothing to say about them. They're decent. I guess the last point could be you could spend 10 points and put the mine on one squad of Incursors if you fancy them. It depends on how aggressive you're going with them. We've got Death Company with 4 hammers, an Infernal Pistol, and a Power Sword. I think he's forgot to pay the points for the jump packs here, because typically with 4 hammers they're 165 points. So I assume he has meant to have these guys with jump packs. I guess we'll see. Maybe he's got a transport for them. We've got Sanguinary Guard 7 with swords and 2 Infernal Pistols. I do think if you're going to put Infernal Pistols in a squad, it's best to do 2. We've got the Thunder Strike, which is your ballistic skill 2, long range, d6 damage, Storm Speeder. I haven't run the Thunder Strike yet. I've been running the Hammer Strike, I think it's called. The other one, that's the one with all the Melta, but I think these new Storm Speeders are okay. They're worth playing. The Laser Destroyer for 175 points is cool. I like a Laser Destroyer. And then the Whirlwind, you've save your 10 points here and put on the Castellan Launcher. The Whirlwind doesn't do any damage. What you need it to do is always guarantee your suppression fire, and to do that you want the Castellan because you get 2 d6 shots, right? As opposed to d6 with a Vengeance. And a Vengeance won't do any damage anyway. So we then have the Priest with a jump pack. I feel like if you're just going to put the jump pack on the Priest, I guess it's fine. It feels like this Priest could use some sort of Warlord trait, but I don't think there's a particularly good one. If you're putting Rites of War on your Captain and you've got Soul Warden on the Captain, then there's nothing really desperate for this Priest to have. You get another squad of Incursors. You've got 4 Centurions with Assault Launchers and Flamers, and the Sergeant has double Meltagun. I don't think you need the double Meltagun. I mean, the Centurions will kill anything they charge. Literally anything they charge, because they're like Strength 10 with +1 to wound, I think, and they are strength. Well, you said the Priest was with the Centurion, so what about making the Priest have Quake Bolts? That might be the best option here, actually, because you'd want the Centurions to get +1 to hit in melee. So Centurions, I mean, you could save 10 points. They don't need the Melta Guns. They're gonna kill anything they charge. If anything, the Melta Guns may end up killing something close that you want to charge, and then you're not going to be able to charge it because you shot it with the Meltas. So I think Centurions, I'd just go all Flamers, keep them nice and cheap. That's my opinion. Some people make Meltas, some people take Hurricane Bolters. I think Centurions with Flamers alone is fine. Giving them Flamers makes them hard to be charged, and then they're strength 10, and they're -5, 3 damage on those fists. So they're absolutely no joke. Something you could do as well is, I suppose, you could Mastercraft one of the Centurion's fists as well, so you get a 4 damage Centurion fist. I've always sort of joked about that, but never done it. Maybe I need to do that one time. Sanguinary Guard. We've got 7 here with 3 Infernal Pistols this time. Again, I think 2 Infernal Pistols is sort of the minimum I'd like to run Sanguinary Guard. And then we've got Las Fusel Eliminators with Las Fusels. Okay, so it's a bit of firepower, actually. Vindicator, Laser Destroyer, Thunder Strike, Las Fusels. Centurions from the middle. 2 Sanguinary Guard. 1 Death Company. The Rites of War Chapter Master, Mephisto on the Priest, 2 squads of Incursors, starting on 2 CP. So, I mean, overall, this isn't a bad list, right? Like, we can get Assault Doctrine, I think he definitely messed up a couple of things. Like, it needs to be the Castellan Launcher, he needs to put jump packs on the Death Company, and then maybe he could drop these Melta Guns if he needs the points. I think the things that stand out to me in this list are, like, you could do Relentless Assault or Shot Tactics. I think both of those are decent picks, depending on who you're up against. But then, what other secondaries have you leaned heavily into? I don't think Mephiston or Dante are particularly, or sorry, Mephiston or just a standard chapter master like this are particularly great for Blade of Sanguinius. Not that I think Blade of Sanguinius is all that strong myself anyway. And then what else? Like, what other ones really stand out to me is like, hey, you could totally take. I was trying to think. I think I have my slideshows, my flowchart somewhere. That's what I was looking for. That was a random receipt because I was sending things. This is the older copy of the flowchart. I think this is the newer copy of the flowchart. Okay. There's actually a more updated version actually here where I've updated the points on shot tactics. So I think shot tactics is probably scoring about 8.5 now, up from where it was previously. So shot tactics probably comes up to, it's as good as relentless assault behind enemy lines, depending on who you're playing against, right? Perhaps a few axes on Sangre Guard would be nice, yes. I guess you could take. See, I never really take Psychic Interrogation if I just have Mephiston, because I feel like Mephiston's there to do Unleash Rage, right? I'm not using Mephiston as a point generating character. I guess you could, but it feels like if you wanted to do that, why would you not just take a 65 point Inquisitor, as other people have said? Like, take a cheap Inquisitor if you want to open up Psychic Interrogation, right? Okay. So yeah, you're not taking any of these. You don't have any real good options or real high scoring options, and I think that's the problem that seems to be where Blood Angels are, right? Like, you have to lean more heavily into. I think if you want to do really well, you have to lean into Fury of the Lost, because it's scoring 9.57. It's arguably. I mean, if you look at the numbers here from tournament data, the two that score the highest for Blood Angels are Relentless Assault and Fury of the Lost. They score more than anything else, even situational, even when you come up against like a Bring It Down list, where everything you kill in the opponent's thing is scoring you points. It really comes down to, well, Fury of the Lost is still better than that. So, this sort of list is fine. The Centurions with the Priest makes sense. The Sangre Guard makes sense. I do agree with Highland Phoenix in that putting some axes into a squad of Sangre Guard means that when some die, you pull off the ones that died first. You pull off the ones that are not optimal for the matchup. Swords are obviously optimal against Armor of Contempt. Axes are optimal against a lot of other things. If you are going to enjoy or getting any value out of tonight's stream, guys, please hit that like button at some point. I do really appreciate it. Double Squad of Incursors is fine. Rights of War and Soul Warden is really good. Mephiston, like I've said, feels unreliable. I'm probably not going to be running him myself for a little while. I like Leader Destroyer. Haven't run the Thunderstrike, but it makes sense. It seems like it would be good on BS2+. The Eliminators are good as well. My experience of one squad of Eliminators has commonly been underwhelming, though. So, Lamartis. Yeah, I'd probably go Lamartis. More Lamartis gets like 8 strength, 7 attacks, and they can be 3 damage. And obviously he's Death Company, so killing characters is 3 points, killing units is 2 points, and then if they kill Lamartis on the return, that's a point for you as well. I feel like the Eliminators are probably better with the move, shoot, move. So you want the Sergeant to have the ability to move, shoot, move, but then you kind of give up some of their firepower. I don't know. I mean, a list like this, again, I'd say like it's a solid enough list. It'll probably, I mean, it can win games. I think you're probably capped at about 90 points as well on this list. And if we look at the flow chart for a second, wherever that may be, where the hell did I just had it up? Why did I close it? If we look at the flow chart for a second, The thing that sort of maybe like it's fine when you're in a tournament to flow down the flowchart, but like when you get down here and there's nothing good to pick except like banners. I mean, banners isn't a great thing for Blood Angels typically on most maps. There's only a few maps that banners is going to really be good. Our secondaries just aren't in a great position, I feel like. So, based on that, I feel like the more we talk about it, the more I think like you need to lean into Fury of the Lost. Death from Above does okay, I guess. I mean, maybe this list could do some Death from Above. Just different people have different opinions on Death from Above. My opinion is that I think trying to do like charges from Deep Strike, an 8-inch charge even with a reroll, is a shitty. I think it's shit. It's not reliable. I'd prefer to not have to ever do that if I don't have to. And I mean, just the event that I was with, I think against the Sisters, I failed 2 charges from Deep Strike. Against Necrons, I failed a charge from Deep Strike. I'm trying to think if I failed some more. But I probably only did, like... I was going to say, like, maybe I only did, like... I didn't do any against Thousand Suns. Did I do one against Demons? So I think, like, a 9-inch charge with a reroll is a 66% chance. I think I did that 5 times at the event, maybe 6, and 3 of them were failed. So, like, it's just something to be aware of. Like, you just, even at a 66% chance of Deep Strike, which is what it is, at rolling an 8 with a reroll, it's shit, right? Just always assume that's going to fail, because if you don't, like, it's going to fail when you need it the most, is the way to look at the tournament. It's the same reason that I don't like running weapons that have random number of shots at tournaments, like the Plasma Redemptors. Like, I really wish Plasma Redemptors just... If they had 3 shots on the Plasma, I've said this a bunch of times, which is actually less than the average, I would probably run them more often, because at least I know what I'm getting. Everyone was saying it's a decent list. I think you could win games. I think you could probably go 3-2, 4-1 in a tournament. I think you come unstuck against some armies because of the same problem that Blood Angels have in it. It's hard, unless you're leaning really heavily into the Blood Angels secondaries, it's really hard to score over 90 points in the current meta. Like, it's just really hard. I mean, maybe you've come up against a list where you can, like, pick a no prisoners, and get all the points because it's an easy no prisoners list. But, I mean, that doesn't happen all that often, right? What are people saying in chat? Let me catch up. You have Canticle of Hate on Icon of Angel to Deep Strike properly. You can't half-arse it. I mean, yeah, I guess you can. But, I mean, Canticle of Hate with a reroll, kind of a lot of CP invested, right? And it only brings it up to an 82% chance. And I still prefer to not have to take random chances like that if I can avoid it, right? Like, you know, the way I look at it is like let's say the game can be won if you make your 8-inch charge from Deep Strike, and it's a 66% chance of making that charge. That actually happened against Colin's Death Guard just like 2 weeks ago, right? On the channel, where it was like, if I make this charge into his Poxwalkers, I win the game. If I fail the charge, I lose the game. And it's like, laws of averages say I should pass it 2 out of 3 times, but like, when you really need it to happen, it won't happen. So yeah, Canticle of Hate will help. But I mean, just last week on the channel, I failed a 6-inch reroll charge. So, you know, you're saying you can spend CP to make it a 7-inch reroll charge, but Benno says it's squeaky bum time. Yeah, it really is. I really prefer, and I think I said this too in a couple of my matches last week, that I much prefer using my Deep Strike to come down in an area that's going to like reinforce a flank or something, or drop them into a bubble of stuff, and don't need, like, if I can make a 9-inch charge, great. But if I can also put them in a position where kind of they're safe and they're going to make a charge a turn after, and it's kind of kept my opponent guessing. That's a better analysis for me. I like deep striking one unit a game. It can be game changing, but not limiting. I mean that's how I felt. That's how I've been playing, Clint. I've been don't tell me the odds. I like the Star Wars quote. I'll give you that. I've been playing that for about a year, where I usually have a squad of Sangry Guard or a squad of Terminators in Deep Strike with no extra buffs. They're just coming into Deep Strike, and I'm gonna roll the dice on them making that 9-inch charge. And you know, some games it wins me the game, some games it loses me the game. But I guess the way I feel about it is, it's shitty that we have to rely on that because of the current meta, and I don't like it. You know, if you tell me before the game you'll win the game if you roll an 8 up with a reroll, I'm like, oh, you know, even though I know it's a better odds chance. I guess I'm not a gambler. I just prefer not to do it, right? Okay, next list. Vanguard Detachment, -3 CP. We've got an Apothecary with a Selfless Healer. Not often we see that. We've got 2 Company Champions and Company Veteran. I guess you can run 2 Company Champions if you want. Can you? I don't think they can both be in the no force organization slot. I think one of them could be. Because I think if you've got a captain in your... unless he's got 2 captains. Alright, we'll maybe come back to this. He's got chainsword and bolt guns on the veterans. I prefer just putting double chainsword on my veterans. So he's got a captain on a bike with Soul Warden, a Combi Malta, and a Thunderhammer. I mean, he seems like a great character to be running Rites of War as well, because he's kind of a bit more tanky and stuff. You've got Librarian Dreadnought with Unleash Rage, you've got Wings, you've got Champion of Humanity, so he's kind of a Blade of Sanguinius character, because he's going to hit on 2s if he's fighting a character. We've got 4 Centurions, times 2. Okay, we've got 8 Centurions. That's crazy. I didn't know any Blood Angels player has 8 Centurions. You've got Melta on all of them. I mean, you want the Flamers, for sure, so they can't be charged by... like, I think Seraphim and Repentia still absolutely mess up Centurions if they make the charge, so like, I feel like you want Flamers here and not Meltas. I really hope you haven't modeled them all with the Meltas, because I really think you want Flamers. You've got another squad of veterans. You've got 2 squads of Sangry Guard, and they're both too big. 2, 4, 6, 8. So they're both 9-man squad, all Infernal Pistols. I mean, they're too big because Sangry Guard will kill a unit. I mean, 6-man Sangry Guard will kill a unit. Then next turn they'll instantly get mopped up. It doesn't matter if, like, when my Sangry Guard get killed, they always get super overkilled. Like, they're not getting killed. It's not like, oh, they're gonna die from like 1 hit. It's gonna be like they're charged by an 8-man squad of Repentia who have full rerolls to hits and wounds, so they hit 75% of the time, and they're bloody roses and 6s burst, and then they're all -4 and they're all wounding on 3s, but they're rerolling. So it's like you need to take, like, I don't know. It'll be like you need to take 24 saves at -4 and they're 2 damage each. So these Sangry Guard squads are way too big. You'd be much better going 6-6-6 as opposed to 2 9s. I mean, I guess if you want to go all Infernal Pistols, that's fine. I don't have a problem with all Infernal Pistols. I just think... yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with all Infernal Pistols. It's just going to be difficult to be in range, right? Because often with Infernal Pistols, you'll usually find that, like, you're usually making, like, Sangry Guard, they're maybe making a 4 or 5-inch charge, so the front row of guys will be in range with Infernal Pistols, the second row will not be, so you'll probably find a bunch of times that, like, a bunch of the Infernal Pistols are out of range, so it might have been better just taking a bunch of bolters. You've got a squad of Servitors, you've got Las Fusel Eliminators with the that move, shoot, move, and you've got the whirlwind. Okay, so I mean, 2 guard, 2 centurions, 2 veterans, servitors, a couple of champions, apothecary. I mean, yeah, okay. And I mean, I guess the chief apothecary, the reason behind that is because he was going to stay with the centurions. He doesn't need to fly because the centurions obviously move super slow. I'm trying to get my opponents to pick assassinate. So you've got 5 characters. I just don't think you can do double company champion with no force organization. I mean, people will pick assassinate against you when you've got 4 characters. Where's the company champion? Yeah, the rule is it's here. For each Blood Angels company veterans unit included in a detachment, 1 company champion can be included in a detachment. Alright, so for each... So you can do this. Okay, wow, because you've got 2 units of veterans, you can include 2 champions. Okay, don't see that. I've never seen that before, actually. Okay, but Garstar says I don't see the point of taking the company champion without upgrading them, to be honest. He's 15 points. Yeah, I mean, it's a 15-point upgrade, and what do you get again for 15 points? You get quite a lot, don't you? I think you get... Well, I'll just read it to you. You get -1 to hit. You get reroll wounds against characters. You get +1 attack, and you get leadership 9. I mean, it seems like a really good upgrade for 15 points. I couldn't agree with you more. Whose list is this? Eric Ragland. I think you're up next, Lamented Son. Oh no, you'll be up last. We're on to Inks next. Alright, so he's trying to get opponents to pick Assassinate. As it plays into my slow-moving anvil units. I'm going to use the chapter trait with exploding 6s and fall back and charge. Angel Sacrifice strat and a whirlwind to stack 3 layers of fight last. What do you mean stack 3 layers of fight last? How are you going to stack 3 layers of fight last in this list? You've got 1 fight last on the whirlwind. Company champions have something about fight last, but it's not. It's just. At the start of the fight phase, if an enemy model is within engagement range of any enemy character's units, it can fight first that phase. So I mean, your champions can fight first, but just the champions. 2 of which the opponent is not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of what these 2 extra fight lasts are. Is that, I mean, a company, you've not paid the extra upgrades, so you're basically just talking about 4 power sword attacks. I mean, that's going to do a little bit, and it's only if there's characters as well, right? So, like, squads are not going to be helped. It's going to be squads that are going to be killing centurions, like I said, if you're playing Sisters, it's going to be Zephyrum and Repentia that are killing the Centurions, not their characters. I used the 2 Sanguinary Guards hammer, both units sticking with 3 inches of the captain, usually so you can give the rerolls to 1 and follow the other, making it 3 plus 4 rerolls. Okay. The Centurions is 2 groups of closely moving anvils, reviving them and shooting as they approach the middle. I really think you want the Centurions with flamers. The enemy units with the melee, the enemy strikes with melee unit that didn't hit the whirlwind, and Angel Sacrifice takes away their ability to fight. They kill my 55-point character. I mean, I guess you're gonna try and Angel Sacrifice your 55-point character and use his heroic intervention, I guess. All right, I mean that makes sense. If they commit early, I kill half their force. If they commit late, I kill all their force. I mean, yeah, sure, in an ideal world. Shooting is pretty inefficient against the only thing that pokes out Centurions, who have a 0-up save and cover. Yeah, I mean, until you fight Sisters of Battle and they shoot you with 2 squads of Retributors, and I was talking about this last night. I'm pretty sure one squad of Retributors pretty much wipes 4 Centurions in a turn, and there's not, even if you're in cover, because they don't care that you're in cover. 3 garbage units for raised banners. They can easily hide. I mean, yeah, you can hide company veterans on objectives and raised banners, but and servitors and raised banners, but like you're not going to hold them if anything moves onto them, right? The other options are Psychic Interrogation or Psychic Ritual, and maybe Blade of Sanguinius from Librarian Dreadnought. And then try and table the enemy. A few people wouldn't take the chapter champion whether it was Blade Relic, suddenly becomes a monster. So a few people want you to upgrade the chapter champions. A Judiciar would probably be better here, but you'd have to drop some servitors or something. I mean, there's possibly a play here where you lose some Sanguinary Guard and you get an assault squad, right? And you don't need like 9-man Sanguinary Guard with all Infernal Pistols is incredibly inefficient, right? Like I would never I think I now have like 25 Sanguinary Guard. I will never run them in a 9 because they get slaughtered. They get picked. They jump in. They kill something. You try, usually in vain, to consolidate out into an obscuring position or into cover, and then they get picked off. And I mean, with 9, you're just asking for leadership problems as well, right? Because like I have leadership problems with like 6s, because like you lose 5 of them, and it's like, oh shit, they're probably gonna fail leadership. So with 9. Yeah, it's just gonna be worse. I don't know anyone that's running 9 Sangard like that. I also think Centurions. I think, and this is my personal opinion, if you want to run Centurions, you have to run the 5-man squad, and that's why I don't run them, because I think a 4-man squad, it's the same as attack bikes, right? Like when you run attack bikes as squads of 3, and arguably, I mean, they're very similar to Centurions. It's very easy to lose the whole squad, right? Like you can lose the whole squad in a turn, you know, almost guaranteed. So the Centurions are going to be the same. Like you can literally lose 4 Centurions, even with a 6-up Feel No Pain. Even if you're in cover, you can lose them in a single turn. 5 maybe is the magic number. 5 is the one that we've seen people do well with. I was going to say, this list has no OBSEC. Is that right? Literally no OBSEC. So yeah, I mean, I guess you can table your opponent, but you're unlikely to beat them on primary because you've got no OBSEC. I mean, I don't like raising banners as Blood Angels anyway. If you're raising them with like servitors and 2 company veterans, those are going to be super easy to get cleared off an objective. You know, like I was playing against Miles's Eldari, and he's running like 3 D cannons. So D cannons are strength 12 -4. So if it's indirect, it becomes -3. Armor of Contempt makes it -2. You're in cover, it's still -1. So like, and each D cannon is D6 plus 2 damage. So like, if your veterans or your servitors are in range of any of those D cannons, he's just going to pick off your models on the objectives. So you're just going to have objectives that are either not held, or you're not going to have the banners up because the models have been picked off, and then he's put like 1 model onto it. So, I really dislike having no OBSEC. As much as I hate troops and think troops are low in terms of priority or low in terms of value, OBSEC is really important at the moment. If you come up against some lists, you're going to get no points on primary if you've got no OBSEC. And the other thing is you've got 520 points in Centurions, and Centurions can be kited. Like, they legitimately can be kited. They move 12, they move 5, and they have melta-guns. So a good player will just be like, yeah, you can hold the center objective with your Centurions, and I'll hold the 4 around, and I'll rotate away from the Centurions. I don't mind the 5-man squad of Centurions. I really dislike. I just, yeah, Knights want to say hi. Yeah, indeed. Against Imperial Knights, this list will get absolutely rocked on primaries. Yeah, you'll be able to kill some Knights if they let you. But I was going to say Knights will be pretty darn efficient at killing Centurions as well, right? Like, Knights are so much more mobile than Centurions as well. You'll not be able to charge the Knights. The Knights will dictate when you fight them because, like, they move 10 or 12 inches, so they'll move to the point where they're 17 inches away from you. You can only move 5 and then hope for a 12-inch charge, which by the way, a 12-inch charge is like 3% chance. So you'll have a 3% chance of fighting the Knights, and then they're going to move 12 inches next to you and make a 5-inch charge after they've shot you with, I don't know, all their melta-guns and stuff. And yeah, maybe you've got a reasonable save against the melta-guns, but they'll be within half range, so they're instantly d6 plus 2. So you're basically saying if they roll with 2+, it's a dead Centurion. And also, Centurions aren't core as well, so they can't even score Oath of Moment points. Like, if they're in the middle of the map, they don't score Oath of Moment points. This list doesn't lean heavily like a list that will take Relentless Assault, because you don't have many units that are going to be good for Relentless Assault. It's fine to build a list for like this where you want to kill the enemy and that's what you want to do. But our lists aren't exactly efficient at killing things right now. There's a lot of things that we don't kill very well into. Demons, for example, seem like one of them, where they've got, like, what is it, a 3-up? Like, Tzeentch Demons have a 3-up invulnerable save against shooting. So, I mean, all your melta-guns and all your infernal pistols there are not going to be exactly very useful. All the AP on them is wasted. I think it's fine to build a list like this to kill things. I just don't think it's a tournament list, and I don't think it scores very efficiently at all. Like, there's so many armies that you're coming up against at the moment where, like, they reliably score 90+ points every game. Like, or maybe not every game, but their armies are built where they have secondaries that they can pick to score like 80 or 90 points. I don't see where this comes from in this list, right? Like, you say you want them to pick Assassinate against you. Well, I mean, Necrons don't need to pick Assassinate against you. Sisters don't need to pick Assassinate against you. Demons don't need to pick Assassinate against you. So you're trying to build something where, like, yeah, maybe the odd army needs to pick Assassinate, but there's a bunch of armies that just going to do their new army secondaries and just completely ignore your characters and score 100 points. Tzeentch Flamers are the most annoying things out right now. Tzeentch Flamers are ridiculous combo. I think they need to go up to 35 points minimum. Oh, excuse me. I'd rather have a Selfless Healer with this many Centurions. He does have a Selfless Healer. He just doesn't have the Sanguinary Priest Selfless Healer. It's just Apothecary. Too many Centurions are not the right loadout. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And also, like, I'm doing a couple of videos on scoring in the next couple of weeks, so you need to watch my scoring videos and we'll get into them and we can talk about it. Okay, hopefully Lamented Son has finished helping his elderly neighbor who fell over. We're going to look at his list next. Cool. Okay. What we got? We've got Lamenter's list. Okay. Hopefully he's told me what his... I actually have no idea. Do Lamenters just... They use Inherit... Oh yeah, they do use Inheritors of the Primarch. Alright, so they've still got the Red Thirst standard +1. to wound and +1 to charge in advance. Okay, so we've got an Inquisitor. He's nice and cheap. He's just got a chainsaw and a bolt pistol. Ordo Minoris. He didn't say what psychic power the Inquisitor has. Maybe he doesn't care. I would care, I guess. Ordo Minoris. They don't have a specific psychic power. Okay. I mean, I would probably take mental interrogation if it was me, because... But then maybe he isn't taking it because he's just going to do... He's going to take psychic interrogation. Yeah, I mean, if you take mental interrogation, then it means if it's not a good game for psychic interrogation, you can at least do the same sort of thing and try and get command point back. I forget the quarry. So you reroll wounds against characters. Hits and wounds against characters. I mean, I guess that's fine. It's not really that important, right? Because you just got a bolt pistol and chainsword. So we got the cheap Inquisitor, probably going to be here to do psychic interrogation or something like that. We've got a captain with Soul Warden. He's got Artificer armor, and he's got an Infernal pistol, and he's got a Relic Blade. I would swap out Artificer armor for Armor Indomitus unless you've got that elsewhere. You lose 1 toughness, so rather than being toughness 5, you're toughness 4, but you do have that 1 round of combat where you can go on the 3-up invulnerable save. And I think that is super useful for Angel Sacrifice because it sometimes gets you... It sometimes keeps you alive through Angel Sacrifice, and if you stay alive through 1 turn of Angel Sacrifice, it can actually be kind of huge. Especially if your character's good, like he's got an Infernal Pistol, he's got a Relic Blade, and he's going to do some good damage on the fight back. See John's video on Inquisitors. Take the Xeno CP generator one. What was the CP generator one? It's been a while since I looked at Inquisitors. I did buy that Inquisitor Highland Phoenix, but I hadn't. There's a warlord trait for Inquisitors, right? That gives you a CP. I forget what it was. Mental interrogation is the one where you just basically pick an enemy, cast it on a 6. It makes them -1 to hit, and if you roll over their leadership on 3d6, you get a command point. That's cool. It's this one, isn't it? Whilst this warlord is in the battlefield, roll 1d6 so every time your opponent uses stratagem. On a 5-up, you gain 1 command point. Maybe I should include that. Maybe I need to build this Inquisitor. Maybe I need to get him out and build him on my next stream and include him in my list. Because I think I'm going to lose Mephiston, so maybe I'm going to have an Inquisitor with historic lore. Do any of the named Inquisitors have this as a warlord trait, or is it just better to pick it on the super cheap Inquisitor? I feel like one of the things that Marines lack, and I said this the other night, one of the things Marines lack is a way to generate additional CP every turn, and this would be one way to do it, right? Maybe even it's 2 ways to do it if that guy also has mental interrogation, or psychic interrogation also does it as well, right? And I think when you pay the 1 CP to get a warlord trait on the Inquisitor, you also get a relic, right? Like, you don't just get the warlord trait, you get the relic and you get the warlord trait and the relic for 1 CP for whatever reason. So maybe there's a relic. I don't know what you could. I don't know what relic you could take. I was going to say digital weapons, I guess, would be fine. Probably you just want like the Black Shroud, so he's -1 to wound, maybe. Because you want to keep him cheap, unless you give him a power sword. Yeah, something like that. The Universal Athena, when resolving an attack made with a weapon against that is not a vehicle, a wound of 2+ is also successful. So what, you just give him a 4 sword and then he always wounds on 2s. I mean, that sounds good on paper, but that's the same shit that Dante's got, and I never make any I never do any damage with Dante. Okay, what made a dent when it hit the floor? I missed something. Okay, so anyway, we've got an Inquisitor. We've just talked about options. I probably like the one that gives you a command point on a 5-up. We've got the Rhino, that's like the special Forge World Rhino that is somehow dodged being part of Legends. And the Rhino gives an aura. While friendly units are within 6, they're considered to be within the following aura abilities of any chapter. So they can get... They basically... Your models can reroll ones and reroll ones to hit and ones to wound if you've got a captain and lieutenant in the battle. And apparently, at the start of your command phase, if it's on the battle, on a 5-up, you gain a command point. Okay. I mean, it's a HQ Rhino. You can also transport one model. So, I mean, I guess it could be... I don't know who the hell you'd put in it, but you could put one model in it. I mean, this is not... This is a Lamenter's list, but if it was Flesh Tearers, maybe that would be the way to get Seth. Seth could be in it. Because he doesn't have a jump pack. I mean, we always complain about why does Seth not have a jump pack. I guess maybe he rides in a command Rhino. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the hell you put in the command Rhino. We'll see. Maybe a company champion or that chapter champion, I guess, maybe. 2 assault intercessors and a tactical squad. Interesting, we never see tactical squads. We've got the Blade Guard Ancient. And then we've got a squad of Blade Guard. I mean, we never see Blade Guard Ancients. I think if you want to include something, I assume that you've got an Impulsor. I was going to say, I thought you would have an Impulsor if you had a Blade Guard Ancient. I feel like if you wanted... Because the Blade Guard Ancient does, like, nothing. He gives the Blade Guard... What? While Friendly Blood Angels cores within 6... You can get 1 to leadership, and on a 4+ when you die, you can make a single attack. If it was the fight phase or the shooting phase, and he can make Blade Guards +1 to hit. He doesn't have a weapon for whatever reason. It's really kind of stupid that his name is Blade Guard Ancient when he doesn't have a weapon. You'd like... I was going to say, they made the Primaris Ancient better, right? Like, they gave the Primaris Ancient the ability to take a power sword. I don't run any of these characters, but where the hell is the Primaris Ancient? He's got to be elites, right? Primaris Ancient, yes. Oh, he's actually 5 points cheaper than the Blade Guard Ancient. Oh, but he doesn't give the Blade Guard +1 to hit. So what does his banner do? Nothing. It just gives you on the deck. Alright, so he's useless as well. I would run the Judiciar. If you're going to run something with the Blade Guards, he's the same point as the Ancient. What he's going to give you is just 6 attacks with a Strength 7 -3 2 damage sword, which is pretty good. 6s are going to inflict mortals, and he's going to also make enemies within 3 inches fight at last, right? Like, I don't see any reason to take a Blade Guard Ancient over a Judiciar, because Blade Guard Ancient aren't mobile, so the argument is he's just going to walk up behind the Blade Guard. At that point, I'd rather have the Judiciar walk up with the Blade Guard all round him. Think of it like... The Judiciar has a 3-inch bubble, right? Of you fight last. Right, is this paint? Yeah. So this is your... Will this work? I'm not very good at paint. Hold on. Can I make a circle? Surely I can make a circle. Right, so here's your Judiciar, right in the middle in the black circle. Let me measure this base. Actually, no, I'm not even going to measure the base. We're just going to check the base. Judiciar comes on a 40mm base. 40mm 2 inches is 1.7 inches, right? And Blade Guard come on... Blade Guard veterans, they come on 40s as well, right? So it's 1.5 inches. So that's perfect, right? So basically it means that if our Judiciar is here, and let's say this next one is our Blade Guard, how would it change the color? So this is a Blade Guard, and he's here, right? If the enemy want to fight him, bear with me because I'm crap at paint, they can be within an inch, right? So this can be like 1 inch. That's not inch.
1 inch, right? And we said that this guy's base is like 1.57 inches. So this distance here is 2.57 inches. Meaning that if you placed your blade guard like this, wrong button, like 1, 2, 3, these circles should all be the same size, right? They should all be the. If you placed them like this or something, right? Then nobody can fight any of those blade guard, right? Because they all would need to be within 1 inch here, and we've determined that this area here is 2.57. So it means that anyone wants to fight into here, they're going to be within 3 inches of the Judiciar. They will fight. The Judiciar can pick them to fight last. To me, that seems like a much, much better option than +1 to hit on the Judiciar, right? He selects a unit within 3, yes. But what I'm saying is no one would be able to be within engagement range of the Blade Guard and not also be within 3 inches of the Judiciar, right? So that's how I would play it. I would basically have the Judiciar with a 5 Blade Guard right around him so that there's no opportunity for anyone to fight the Blade Guard without being in 3 of the Judiciar, so then the Judiciar makes them fight last. That's not so easy, I suppose, if you're charging in or something. But that's the Judiciar is the same points. He's going to do a lot more damage than the Ancient, and he's going to potentially keep your Blade Guard a lot more alive, right? Because they're going to get to fight first if they're charged, and that's usually how models die. You know, like Blood Angels, when we charge, we usually kill a lot. It's usually when we're charged that we die. The Blade Guard Ancient would sit with the Sergeant and the 2 Blade Guard, and would either move over to the center to support the center. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can decide how you want to do it, but in general, I don't think the Blade Guard Ancient is a good character. Like, he's not. He only buffs that one squad of veterans, so assume those squad of veterans get picked. You know, typically in a game of 40k, something's always going to die in turn 1, right? So let's say, I don't know, they have a fucking flyer that's just going to fly over the top of your army, get line of sight on your veterans, and kill them all. So now your Ancient sat there, and guess what? He can only buff the Blade Guard, and they're all dead because, you know, why Blade Guard actually kind of are bullet magnets. People pick them off. So now you've got basically an 85-point Marine who's got a pistol because he's got no melee weapon. So you've spent 85 points on a bolt pistol at that point. So yeah, definitely consider losing the Ancient. I was going to say the Primaris Ancient's no better. The only Ancient that is good is the Sangre Ancient, who is more expensive. And a Sangre Ancient could go with I know it's a jump unit, but it could go with a slow-moving unit. The Sangre Ancient's banner is good because it's got the +1 to hit, but it's not limited like the Blade Guard's one. It will go +1 to hit on any core model. So if they do pick off your Blade Guard, for example, you could give the Terminators +1 to hit. You could give Assault Intercept squads +1 to hit, right? So, you got to lose the Ancient. No one plays him. He's terrible. You've got the Ancient. I just realized this. So you've got a Sangre Ancient as well. Okay, so yeah, you just need to switch him out for something better. Even like a 5-man squad of Death Company with Chase Chainswords is better than this Ancient, I think. So you've got the Sangre Ancient. I was going to say, the Sangre Ancient is a great character to run Rites of War on, to add a load more OBSEC to your army. You can also run Wrath of Baal if you've got a bunch of jump pack units, which it looks like you do. So Wrath of Baal or Rites of War would be great pickups on this Ancient. Depending on how much you play and how you feel about it, I would try both. I think you could try both Wrath of Baal and what was the other one I said? Rites of War. Yeah, you can try both. Yeah, we then have Sanguinary Guard with 5. The reason I'm thinking about this is because you're a successor chapter, and there is some limitations on successors, but you can take one. You can take one of the Blood Angel's relics, which would be the Wrath of Baal, and it does just cost you 1 CP, same as if Blood Angels take it. You got 5 Thunderhammer Terminators with a Talbot Homer. If you can, I would buy another squad of these guys and get 2 Lightning Claw guys in here. And the reason that I think behind that is you never know what you're going to fight in a game. Thunderhammers are incredibly inefficient if you end up having to fight 1 wound models. Again, it comes down to, like, sometimes I'll say, like, in a Sanguinary Guard squad, it's good to have different weapon options, like axes and swords, because it's the same in a Terminator squad. Let's say you fight an army that's just like Imperial Guard, shitloads of 1 wound models, then your Thunderhammers are super inefficient, so when you take incoming fire, kill the Thunderhammer guys and keep the Lightning Claw guys because they get 6 attacks and they all do 1 damage. Whereas the Thunderhammers get like 3 or 4 attacks maybe. And they're -1 to hit as well. I mean, that's the other thing that's inefficient. So, but if you're fighting into a bunch of demons and they're all -1 to hit anyway, or Harlequins are all -1 to hit anyway, and you've got a bunch of transports you need to kill, then by all means keep the Thunderhammers. So I think I like this squad. I think you can just have it at 200 points, and you can put 2 Lightning Claw guys in there, and it's no weaker. And if anything, it's more versatile. You got 2 assault squads, 3 assault squads, actually. A bunch of jump packs, chain fists, chain swords, sorry, infernal pistol, power swords, couple of flamers, couple of meltas. It's cool, actually. We've talked about assault marines. They can perform actions, they can do stuff. They're not bad. They do some damage. I like it. You've then got the eliminators with las fusils and quake bolts and a carbine, and another one with just las fusils. You're going to do psychic interrogation / warp ritual, retrieve data, and relentless assault behind enemy lines. That can actually now be switched out for shock tactics. Like, I think shock tactics is really good. It would be even easier if you had rites of war in the list, shock tactics, and depending on what you're popping against. Hey Knight, thanks for dropping in and saying hi. Yeah, I mean, retrieve data with 3 assault squads seems fine. Psychic interrogation with the 1 psyker possibly seems fine as well. Find enemy lines is probably okay too. So I think the main thing to say is, like, I don't know. 1 squad of Death Company, 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard, 1 Terminator squad, 1 Blade Guard veteran squad. Okay, I mean, you've got versatility there. You've got a bunch of invulnerable saves. It would be nice if there was a way that this list could be more themed into, like, having an option for Fury of the Lost. It seems strange to include this Rhino that's going to let you bounce your Captain Aura about, but then not have a Lieutenant. You know, that's a good point, actually. Like, this is a battalion, so maybe the best option, actually, would be to drop the Blade Guard Ancient and replace him with a Lieutenant. Because the Rhino you're running is literally letting you re-roll your it's letting you re-roll hits, and it would be letting you re-roll wounds. And that's within 6 inches of the Rhino. So, like, if the Rhino is going to be forward doing stuff, then being able to re-roll wound rolls of 1 on, like, a ton of stuff is going to be much more beneficial than a fight last maybe in one area. I think that's something you might want to experiment with. I don't own one of the... Do you actually own this command Rhino? Like, I've never... Like, I used to only be able to buy it at Warhammer World, right? Is that, like, still a thing? Like, you just can't buy this online, or can you? Oh, maybe you can. I thought it was you only were able to buy it at Warhammer World. $64 for a Rhino, though, man. Fucking A. I remember my first Rhino cost $9.99. I mean, this was a long time ago, I guess. But yeah,
That's the world we live in now. $64 for. I mean, in America, I guess you got like, that's the UK prices. Let me just change this. So that's gonna be like $100 US. I mean, that's gonna make. Oh, wait, I was right. Look, oh, $100 for a Rhino, man. Oh God, that's the state of the world right now, isn't it? Fucking A. Like I said, my first Rhino cost me $9.99. It wasn't even $10. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would if you want to run that Rhino, it would make sense to run a Lieutenant because that's the way you're going to get the most beneficiary out of it. The other thing to say is you don't have a Whirlwind, so if you play armies with really good Overwatch, I'd advise you watch my video on the Whirlwind. It sounded like you were a newer player, Lamented Sun, or it sounded like you maybe not newer player, but newer to Blood Angels, maybe. I think maybe if you search Whirlwind Blood Angels on YouTube, this video, have a watch of it. Tactics in direct fire. It breaks down why I basically feel like I have to run the Whirlwind in just about all my lists. What are people saying in chat? Someone said, damn GW. Yeah, I mean, that's just the prices now, I guess. Print a satellite dish and there you go, $100 for the Rhino, says Mike. Yeah, I mean, you could probably just 3D print a satellite dish. Is that all it's got? Like, it's just got like a little satellite dish on it. Because normal Rhinos come with a couple of heavy bolters, don't they? Oh, sorry. I guess they're just bolters, but it counts as a storm bolter. Oh, I think at one point maybe it was a twin-linked bolter. I don't know. I've not run a Rhino in forever. Maybe it does have a twin-linked bolter. Who knows? A Rhino has a storm bolter. Okay, maybe at one point a long time ago it was a twin-linked bolter. Who knows? Okay, this list seems okay. Your secondary thoughts seem okay. If you haven't downloaded my flowchart, it looks something like this. And there is a more final version of it on the community tab for my Blood Angels Commander channel. I probably... It's a pity you can't... I don't think you can pin stuff on the community tab. But there was a... Where is it? Yeah, here's the final flowchart is here. Oh, I did put a download link for it. Oh, that goes back to the top of the page. That's annoying. Here it is. Copy link address. I'll just put it in chat. Hopefully that works. Yes, so you can just download that if you want. And maybe that'll help you think about some more ideas for like how you could either improve the list or how you could go somewhere with secondaries. Good evening, Mike. Hello. There used to be a non-Demos... I'm not sure I'm saying that right. Damocles that was cheaper, but they stopped making it. Yeah, there was a Command Rhino that used to only be able to buy at Warhammer World because I was there when they were selling it, and I was like, do I really need a Command Rhino? I guess I never got around to buying it. Okay, I mean, I like lists like this, which is completely changing, like completely different from what we see or what we've been seeing. I guess a bunch of people at the very top of competitive play just want to run Death Company and Sanguinary Guard, and that's it. And I mean, I guess that works for some people, but nice to see a list that's, well, one, it's kind of like a successor chapter, and two, is something unique and interesting. So thanks for submitting that, Lamented Sun. I do appreciate it. Share a picture of your Lamenters in the Discord when you have your list done. I'd love to see it. Okay. This next list is by Inks. We haven't seen Inks on this stream tonight. I don't know if he's maybe working or something. He was in chat last night. Alright, let's see what he's got. He's starting on 2 CP. And this is his new roster, and it is a battalion.
Inks is a legend. All you guys with green names are legends. Everybody that's got a green name and channel, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And some of you guys found out last night, Highland Phoenix, for example, has been supporting this channel for 22 months. I couldn't be more appreciative of that, guys. Like, for me, the last 6 months of Warhammer has been pretty tough because I haven't felt like Blood Angels have been in a good spot, and all the support that you guys have given me has helped me. I said to a friend that I think if I hadn't had the channel, I would have honestly like pieced out and taken a break from 40k for 6 months, because I was like, I'm really frustrated by some of the new codexes. They're so strong. It doesn't feel good and fun to play without like shoehorning into like some additional lists or something like that. You know, like it's like, yes, we can be competitive, but we only have 2 units, and the whole our whole army needs to revolve around these 2 units, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I'm fine going to the, you know, like I'm fine to run that to an event one time and be like, right, I'll just take a list that's all Death Company, all Sangre Guard, and have fun with it. But I guess my point is I only play one chapter. I don't want to do that all the time because it'll be boring, probably. I'll probably find it boring if I'm never allowed to change my list because it's not competitive. And in the last week or so, Games Workshop they've started doing, I don't know if you guys follow, well, actually, there's 2 things to mention, actually. On the Warhammer community, they've kind of been doing these, like, Meta Watch articles, videos. I don't know if you've seen them. I watched the one that came out this week. And it's like an interview with the guy who's the lead of GW. There was one on the 17th. It's like a 20-minute video. It's worth watching. It actually shows that they're like they're being a bit more serious about competitive play and trying to get it more balanced. So that sounds really good. And they said they're going to be back in like a couple of weeks with the next video. So I'm actually really pleased about that. And the other thing that came up, and it came up from the Discord right before the stream went. Actually, I think somebody mentioned it on Twitter, actually. Let me just go to my likes on Twitter and show you this. Yeah, this came up on Twitter right before it came up like an hour ago on Twitter. So this is the new Sanguinius book, which is part of the Horus Heresy set, and I guess this is a limited edition version, and apparently is going on pre-order this Saturday, so that'll be like $9.50. Is usually the time, like 10 minutes before 10 in the UK. And if previous limited edition Blood Angels books are anything to go by, this will be sold out within like 5 minutes, and then it will be on eBay for stupid money because let me think, like Darkness in the Blood Collector's Edition. I don't even know if there'll be one on eBay, but yeah, okay, there's one. £170 with £18 postage. So like people buy these with no intention of having them for themselves. This one's actually got a number on it, 721. I think that means like they'll only make like 700. They'll only make 1,000 of these books. They'll sell out in like they're supposed to go on pre-order at like 10 a.m. They usually go up at like 10 to 10. And if you go on at 10 a.m., they're already sold out, right? So like you need to be on there at 9:50 if you want it, and you probably need to save your credit card information. You need to be like super on point. I actually don't know what this is. Is this multiple books? Because that's got a picture of Dante and Darkness in the Blood. Maybe that's 2 books. I don't know what this is. But and it's got dice as well, I guess. Does anyone have this? But yeah, I mean, the fact this will be up for like, it'll probably be like £30 or £40, so people will just buy it and instantly list it on eBay for like 5 times the value. It's pretty shitty. But yeah, so if you want it, I guess that's 2 things to be aware of this week that's happening in the world of Warhammer or the world of Blood Angels. But yeah, no, I'm totally off my point. Dale says it makes. They'll be sold out in 4 minutes, Dale's saying. Mike's just spent 2 hours edge highlighting a Dreadnought. You're always edge highlighting something, Mike, though, aren't you? Yeah, so I think I got off topic there. I was just saying thank you so much for all the support over the last year and all the green names in chat. What's the best weapon now for Vanguard veterans? Says Falcon. I mean, I guess it's probably still Lightning Claws because we don't have that. Lightning Claws for Blood Angels wound very, very effectively. I mean, I guess you could argue Power Swords would be better, but it's difficult to say because like Lightning Claws will be better against everything that's not Armor of Contempt, and then Power Swords are probably better into Armor of Contempt. But I think if it was me, I'd probably just run Lightning. I already got a bunch made with Lightning Claws. I'm not about to rip off all their arms. Even though I think I magnetized a bunch of the Lightning Claw arms, I'm not going to rip them off. I'm probably just going to sit with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields. And maybe have like a Thunder Hammer or two in the Sergeant. I do like the Infernal Pistol Relic Blade Sergeant in Vanguard Veteran Squad as well. But some people do Thunder Hammer Relic Blade. Sorry. Some people do Infernal Pistol Thunder Hammer. I think that's good as well. Alright, let's check out Inks' list. So he's got Dante as the Warlord with Heroic Bearing. He's got Librarian with Soul Warden. Blood Boil, Wings of Sanguinius. I really dislike not having Unleash Rage. I think it's our best power. By a long shot. He's the Chief Librarian actually here. And he has Vision of Death. If he's made him the Chief Librarian, that's cool. That means he's got one more power to select anyway, so he should add... I'll just write it down. He should add Unleash Rage. Because Chief Librarian lets you know one more power and also lets you deny one more as well. So you cast 2, deny 2, but you know 3. Oh, you're welcome, Lamented Son. You can definitely do 3 HQ in a battalion. We then have a Sanguinary Priest who has Rites of War and Armor Indomitus. And for a while there, I thought Armor Indomitus on the Priest was maybe the wrong call. But that Priest always gets targeted and he always dies really quickly. So maybe having the one turn of like, oh shit, I really would like my Priest to live. And it's still probably only a 50-50 chance to live because usually when he gets targeted, he gets overkilled. But I actually don't mind Armor Indomitus on this Priest. We've got Assault Intercessors, Infiltrators ×2. I don't know if I feel like I need 2 Infiltrator squads. I'd probably rather take 1 Infiltrator and 1 Incursor with a Mine. But I mean, I guess Infiltrator squads do shut down a bit more of the backfield, I guess, if you're going something that's going to move forward, like Centurion squad. And how many Centurions is this? He didn't put the points next to it, which is a little bit annoying, but I guess it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be a 5-man Centurion with full Flamers and Hurricane Bolters. I think if you're going to run if you're going to run a squad of Centurions, I think one model should probably just have the Assault Launchers, because it just opens up a stratagem that it would save you 10 points, because Assault Launchers are kind of free. And if one unit has an Assault Launcher, then it opens up the Assault Launcher strat, which basically means when you make a charge, the enemy may either brace and take D3 mortal wounds, or they can duck for cover, which means they subtract 1, and they cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. So it's like 1 CP, they either take some mortal wounds or they can't Overwatch you. It's fine. Sometimes I think it's nice to be able to mess with them. I think it just opens up the option. Sometimes near the end of the game you might have some CP. Why would you not just want to you don't even have to select the unit you're charging either, right? You could put the mortal wounds into another unit as long as they're within 9. Alright, we've got Company Veterans, and they've got a couple of Lightning Claws. We also have Death Company with the 4 Hammers. We've got Sanguinary Guard, 4 Swords, 2 Axes. We've got Sanguinary Guard with a lot of Infernal Pistols, and then we got more Sanguinary Guard, 4 Swords with 2 Axes. I genuinely dislike putting 5 Infernal Pistols into one squad for Sangard. I feel like it's just going to make them the most important target for the enemies. Whereas if the pistols were split across 3 squads, it would just be every squad has a chance. Good night, Nathan. He's off in to watch the second part of The Two Towers. I've not watched that movie in ages. I need to buy it on 4K. I like 4K movies. I've been slowly building my collection of 4K movies, but they're so fucking expensive. It's like I buy one every like 6 months. Alright, so 3 Sangre Guard, they're all 6s. Much prefer the size of Sangre Guard squads. You've got the Grav Devastators here. And Highland Phoenix, you were talking about Devastators in chat. What were you saying about them? I kind of missed that. So we've got 4 Devastators here. There's no Cherub, which is interesting. I'd probably try and find the points for the Cherub, because it does give you 4 more shots. Remember, the Sergeant makes one of them hit with +1, so you can essentially put them on 2s. So, let me recap. Dante, Librarian, Priest. Troops, Assault, Infiltrator, Centurions, who might be going to the middle with the Priest. Company Veterans with the bolt pistols and lightning claws. These company veterans, they can take bolt guns, or they could take another chainsword. I don't think there's any reason for them to just have a bolt pistol, like, because they can go bolt gun, chainsword. So I think a bolt gun is, I mean, it's crap anyway. So I would probably go lightning claw, chainsword on them. But you can't go bolt gun, chainsword. It's better than a bolt pistol. I mean, it's super minor. I'd probably move my infernal pistol so it's 2 per squad. I'd probably lose 1 Hurricane Bolter. I don't think the Hurricane Bolters do all that much damage. I don't think they're really needed. I think the main thing that's needed is the Flamers to prevent charges. The Hurricane Bolters will help, I guess, when you get charged, but the Flamers are going to do the bulk of the work, right? Because they're auto hits. Devastators with Grav seems fine. I kind of feel like maybe you want a drop pod, or maybe you want some sort of way to move the Devastators. Grav's 30 inches, right? Where is it? Grav cannon, 30 inches, heavy 4. Strength 5, -3, 1 damage, 2 damage if they have a better than a 3-up save. Some people like to run the Devastator squad with like 3 Grav and a multi-melta, and I think that gives it a little bit more versatility. Terrence is saying that Sangre Guard should get the bodyguard keyword. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. They are literally the bodyguards of a chapter master. It seems a bit silly that they don't have that. But I mean, I guess that is what it is, right? Highland Phoenix with Grav at 30, you could go fishing for trades, but a pod would help. You may as well take 2 Devastator squads. I mean, I don't like spending that. I was going to say, how much does a Devastator Marine actually cost with a Grav cannon? The Grav cannon, so it's 28 points per model, so 28 times 4, I guess. It's late on a Sunday night. 130 points for the Devastator squad. I mean, it's fine. I think Grav Devastators can work. I like the idea of putting 1 multi-melta in the squad, because remember, one model can hit on a 2. So you can make the multi-melta hit on a 2, and then you can use the Cherub on that multi-melta hitting on a 2. Obviously, you can do that on the... Obviously, you can do that on Grav Cannon as well, if the Grav Cannon is going to be the more efficient shooting. I do like drop pods for Devastators, because I think that the biggest weakness Devastators have is that they're immobile. Or, I mean, like, they can only move 6. They can never advance, really, and, like, you need them to have good line of sight, so a drop pod opens up options for Devastators, I feel like. I've never run Grav Devastators myself, but I do like it. My question on this list is, like, where's the big scoring coming from? So this list looks like some of the other lists we've seen. I guess it could do Death from Above, but I don't feel super great about that. Did I download that? I was going to say, did I actually download the spreadsheet when I mentioned it? I don't think I did. So maybe it's got potential to do like Relentless Assault. Maybe with the veterans and infiltrators, a potential to do Nachman data, but I mean, data isn't great. Or it could do banners again, which doesn't feel like that great. But then where's the third one coming from? I ran Oath of Moment a couple of times at the event that I was at, and it's okay. Probably scored about an average of 8 points when I took it. I did have one game that I did badly with it, but yeah, I mean, my problem with this is like, and I mean, you could possibly fix this by like switch out one squad of guard for another death company. Switch out the librarian for Lamartes. Yeah. I think like I said a couple of times tonight, I think that these sort of lists are fine. I just think it becomes really, really difficult to score over 90 points. Eric, good evening. Welcome to the stream. I have been over your list, Eric, so hopefully you can catch it on the replay. And you were I did them in alphabetical order, so you were up like probably about an hour into the stream if you want to rewind it. You can't make, yeah, I guess drop pods count as moving, right? So if you come out of the drop pod, one would be able to hit on a 3 Reziel and the rest would hit on 4s, right? Drop pods are gifts to your opponent. I mean, drop pods can be gifts. They can also be placed to screen, and they can also be placed on objectives to just hold an objective. Well, if you watch back what I said, Eric, please feel free to write a comment on this video afterwards, because I do try and answer all the questions and comments. Yeah, you count as moving, but you can still make one of them +1 to hit Reziel. So you can have one of them basically hit on 3s when the drop pod lands. But yeah, you'd likely, even if you start them on your side of the board, you're likely have to move them out of cover anyway or whatever. So the advantage I could see is starting the Devastators on your side of the board would be that you could start them near Chapter Master or something, give them Chapter Master rerolls, which would kind of make up for it would kind of make up for the fact that they move, right? Okay. So yeah, it's we've been seeing I feel like a few weeks ago all we saw was people doing Sanguinary Guard and Death Company. This tonight has been like 3 lists with Centurions. I've run 3 Centurions. I've never run more than 3. I don't feel like I want to run more than 3. I guess with the feeling that I feel like you really want, like, if you want to be scoring the highest you can at Blood Angels at the moment, you need 4 units of Death Company, maybe even 5. And I don't think that leaves any space for Centurions, in my opinion. Sometimes, map dependent though, drop pod, like on a Relentless Assault map, drop pods can actually just score you 15 points. And you could just drop them in a horrible position for your opponent to have to deal with. The only other thing that's cool about drop pods is, if you remember, any units that start in a drop pod again would score for Death from Above, and they also don't count towards the limit for strategic reserves, right? So pods and rhinos are overcosted. I think rhinos are possibly more overcosted than pods, but yeah, I think just pods have some flexibility because
you can obviously put them wherever the hell you want, for the most part. I've actually seen pods be used to like block gaps between buildings or terrain as well. Like sometimes, and then the thing about the pods is you can deploy them with the doors open or the doors closed, so they're a bit more flexible as well when you deploy them. Sometimes if you open the doors, you can almost have the pod like touch two objectives. I think you probably could on some maps actually, because the pods with the doors open are pretty giant. Okay, so yeah, this is a fine list. I think that it probably suffers the same problem of some of the other lists we've looked at today. It's good. It's got Soul Warden. Visitor of Death I'm not really hot on. I like Rites of War. Dante with his Warlord trait, giving the bigger aura and the leadership helps a little bit. Infiltrators to feel the backfield is good. Sanguinary Guard squads are good. I'd probably break up the Infernal Pistols. I'd probably try and get that multi-melt. I like the Death Company with hammers. The veterans I'd improve. But yeah, I think that this sort of standard Blood Angels list right now, if you score 90 points every game, that's good, but you're not going to score a whole heap over 90, so you have to take that as that's fine. You're building towards 90. I think my next list that I feature on the channel, probably on Wednesday night against the Votan, and in the next couple of weeks video, I'm going to be building a new list where it's designed to score 100, because I think that's what we need to do. And I don't think you have to just run Death Company and Sanguinary Guard to score 100. I think I do like that Inquisitor idea, actually. I don't know if that's where I'm going to lean into, but I'm going to build something new for sure. Drop pods are one of my favourite models, but they're the worst single one in a Marine book. I mean, I think it depends on how you play them. And also, sometimes it can depend on the map as well, because if the map has a giant deployment zone and the opponent aren't going to have anything in it, then you can just drop a 70-point drop pod in there and score your 16 points for Relentless Assault for 70 points, and, you know, they're going to have to commit something serious to kill a drop pod just because it's got like 10 wounds and toughness 6 or something and a 3 up armor contempt save. Like, you're not going to kill it with bolt or fire. I suppose the thing to consider is, like, other armies have a lot better firepower than bolters, but that's where we are right now in the meta. Okay, Primaris Dante's coming. That's what I took from. I heard some rumors this week. I think we're going to get Primaris. Apparently, there's going to be a new Angels of Death book, and we're going to get Primaris Dante, and we're going to get Primaris Azrael. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. We haven't had a Blood Angels release in a long time. So yeah, I guess we'll see what's happening. Drop pods are good for flight shares. Yeah, I think they are. I guess it depends on how. It is good to have some sort of fire support in a Blood Angels list. I'm just not 100% convinced that Strength 5 firepower is what we need. The AP is good, the damage can potentially be good, but and the range is good. And I think probably like a Devastator squad with Grav cannons versus a Gladiator Reaper. I probably don't particularly like either of them, but I do like some sort of fire support in a Blood Angels list. I think that's important. How about risking plasma cannons? What, on the Devastators? Yeah, no chance. No one's doing that. At some point, Marines are going to get plasmas that don't kill themselves. I think the list that I made this week actually has a Reaper in it, so we'll probably see that this week. I really think it's going to get killed before it gets to do anything, but I guess we'll see. Alright guys, I'm going to take off. I hope you enjoyed the army show this week. I hope you got some advice. If you didn't download this spreadsheet yet, this isn't the updated version. Fuck. Alright, I'll make sure I reshare the updated version. I definitely updated it. Maybe I updated it and only shared the new version in Discord. Maybe I'll share it again on the community tab. Pac-Man, you're more than welcome for the show. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys do, before you leave, if you'd like to hit that like button, it does mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, then I think you should subscribe. We're here every week doing Blood Angels content. This week we're playing Votan on Wednesday night, and it's gonna. I think my list's gonna be like 5 Death Company, and I think it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna take the Reaper Island Phoenix, but I'm probably gonna. It's going to have to do well. If this Reaper fucking just gets killed in one turn, then you'll probably never see it again. So, we'll see. Yeah, you guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. I will catch you all Wednesday night. And then, obviously, a new video on Friday as normal. I think this week I'll probably be painting on Thursday night, because I think it's my week off doing podcast stuff. Probably hobbying Thursday and Saturday this week. So, alright guys, thanks again for the support. Thanks again for watching. I will catch you guys Wednesday night against Votan. And Andrew's got that friggin' Land Raider now, the Heka truck. He called it like the Heka Chonk, and I was like, is that actually what it's called? And he said, no, it's called the Hecaton Land Fortress. So he actually has this now. And apparently this cannon did like 12 mortal wounds in one shot to the Death Guard. So he still lost against Death Guard though. So I mean, maybe we've got a chance. But we'll see you guys Wednesday night. Enjoy your weekend, what's left of it. By the blood army made strong. Peace.